I'm Councilmember Karen Stratton, and welcome to Council Connection. Today we're going to be talking with Melissa Huggins, who is the Executive Director of Spokane Arts, and she is the person that coordinates and is responsible for all of these beautiful murals you're seeing around Spokane. We're going to talk about stories behind the murals and the artists. I hope you enjoy the show. And while you're watching the show, I'm going to stay here and try and find the dinosaur that's hidden in this mural. And now I am joined by Melissa Huggins, who is the Executive Director of Spokane Arts. Melissa knows everything there is to know about the public art that's going on and growing in our community, and I'm so happy to have her here. Melissa, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
So we're all about murals today.
Yeah.
And I wanted to talk a little bit about some of the murals that we're seeing and seeing more and more.
Yeah, it's
every
an exciting
day.
time for murals.
Yes, and so talk a little bit about the importance of these murals and kind of the philosophy behind why we're seeing so many and what they do for different parts of town.
Yeah. Yeah, they do so many things, right? I think one part of it is that they're this bright, colorful kind of public museum,
Yes.
right? They're like an outdoor museum. Anyone can go visit them for free and interact and think about them. They brighten up public spaces, and we've seen a lot more businesses see the value in them because they
Good.
brighten up spaces, they activate spaces, they make places feel safer and more vibrant. So they just do so many things.
And they get people together.
Yes.
I noticed, and we'll talk about one on North Monroe that was developed, created last summer.
Yeah.
And what that has done just for that area, as far as
Yeah.
people coming together and talking about the mural, looking at it, and then visiting with each other, which is great.
Yeah, and it brings people together in envisioning what it could be and deciding, you know, to go after the project. And then, like you say, it brings people together when it's being installed and
Yep.
when it's actually being painted.
Yes, so
Yeah.
so let's start with one of the ones that I think is very interesting, and I had an opportunity, or I've had opportunities to walk through that alley by Soulful Soups.
Yeah.
Not only to just look at the mural, but to see people, you know, conversing and talking about it. So
Yeah.
let's talk a little bit about that. The two kids swimming.
Yeah.
What went into that mural, and what's the meaning behind it?
Yeah.
And a little bit about the artist.
Yeah, I love that mural so much. It's so playful
Yes.
and fun and like community friendly.
Yes.
So yeah, the impetus for that mural was that kind of a city council led project. Lori Kinnear did a pilot project to revitalize alleyways, and so that alleyway was picked as kind of the pilot project. And about a year ago, we did a mural at the opposite end of that alley, and this was the second mural as part of that project. And so just like we were talking about a moment ago, the idea is that it brightens up spaces, it becomes a gathering place for, you know, tourists and visitors can go and take a photograph of it. And that mural, that particular artist, her vision behind the mural was, you know, it's this mural of two children swimming,
Yes.
right? And there's an American child swimming in a swimming pool during the daytime and a Chinese child swimming at nighttime. And so she's originally from China and now lives in Pullman, Washington. And her concept behind the mural was thinking about all of the ways that were the same despite these ostensible differences, right? So kids in America, they swim during daytime. In China, they swim, the pools are open at nighttime instead. And so she was just thinking about all of these, you know, connections, how we're all the same despite these, you know, small cultural differences, which is just so lovely.
It's wonderful.
Yeah.
And it's made that alley area feel safer.
Yeah. Yeah, and I love how visible that mural is from Howard and Maine, from the
Yes.
streets around it. And so it draws people into that space, and it draws people over there to take a photograph and look at it. And and eventually in that alley there will be, you know, planters and sidewalk furniture and that sort of thing.
That was going to be my next question.
Yeah.
If we're going to have something like they're trying to do at Garland,
Exactly.
where you've got a pathway where you can walk down, you can look at the murals, you can sit and have a coffee. And
exactly. Yeah, so it helps nearby businesses. It creates a little gathering place for tourists and visitors and kind of a little place of respite. So.
It's wonderful. And is the artist going to do any more murals?
She would love to.
Okay,
Yeah.
good.
She does all kinds of work. She does illustration work. She does children's illustration for children's books. She's exhibited here in the Chase Gallery. So I'm sure she'll apply for more murals around town.
Oh, that's one, and it really is one of those that you walk by and you just have to stand there.
It makes you happy.
And it makes you think,
Yeah.
and it makes you, kind of takes you out of your current environment and just, you can go anywhere in your head looking at
Yeah.
those, which is wonderful.
Yeah.
The other thing that I wanted to talk about is an upcoming partnership and a couple basketball court murals,
Yeah.
and great project.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about that and where we're at. I think they're both done.
Yeah.
And
So
what went into that?
yeah, this is such an exciting partnership. So we were approached by Matt Santangelo of Hoop Fest to ask if we wanted to help paint a basketball court mural. And so we were able to kind of scale it up into a project where we're going to do at least 4 of these murals, and we hope to do them all over the city. So it's a partnership between Hooptown Multicare and Spokane Arts, and the idea is that you have an artist or a team of artists paint the surface of a basketball court as a mural. And so we picked neighborhoods in different parts of the city. So Peaceful Valley was the very first basketball court. Chief Gary Park is the second. There's a court lined up for next year in the Lincoln Heights neighborhood, and then another one downtown. So yeah, it again, just like we were talking about with the other murals, it brightens up. It's this just like fun, colorful, really activates the space.
And what it says to, I think, citizens that are watching this progression of these murals is that murals aren't just going to be pieces of public art downtown, but that they're going to be opportunities for neighborhoods to step up and work with Spokane Arts or the city or other partners to bring some color and some expressive art into their neighborhoods.
Yeah, and that was hugely important to us. That's been hugely important to us over the past few years, and especially so moving forward, is to make sure that we're doing neighborhood-led projects in partnerships with neighborhoods, and that it's not just that, you know, all activity is happening in one part of the city. It's happening, you know, in all of the neighborhoods.
And that it can help the neighborhood tell their story.
Exactly.
And we've talked about that with the West Central community.
Yeah.
Talking about the cop shop, and there's a perfect wall there for a mural. That we have had those discussions is if we do a mural there, what story do we want to tell?
Yeah.
And so I'm really excited and grateful that that work is continuing and that neighborhoods will see more of that going on.
Yeah, and it's so, as with the Peaceful Valley Court mural, you know, with each of these mural projects, we had representatives from the neighborhood who helped select the artist, who helped select the design. So, you know, the neighborhood is very active in the process. And then as the artists started to install the work, you know, as you were saying earlier, it brings everybody together.
Yep.
People come out of their houses and they chat with the artist and they learn about what it is to install a mural. They ask questions about how she came up with the idea. So it is a really interactive process. And then with the basketball court in Chief Gary Park, the original intention was that the neighbors would be able to help install sections of the mural. And we haven't been able to do that because of COVID, because we can't have people gather. So what we decided to do instead was that the artist is helping us make little take-home kits for anyone in the neighborhood who wants to come pick one up. So it will be a wooden circle shaped like a basketball, and we'll send them home with this little kit that has the basketball and paint and all the supplies that they need, and then we'll encourage people to, you know, post it in their front window or take a picture and post it on social media. So it'll be something that people in the neighborhood can participate in from their own houses, even though they can't be together. So that'll be in early September. We'll have you know, a safe distribution of those in Chief Gary Park, where anyone from the neighborhood can come pick up their little kit.
That is, and remind me at the end to ask you how somebody can get involved.
Yes.
And who they would contact, because that's great news.
Yeah.
So one of my favorites, and it's an earlier mural, as you head down Maple
Yeah.
and Second.
Yeah.
So those faces are amazing. And I don't know much about the artist or if
Yeah.
there were, what was the meaning behind that. But to me, that is one that I will go out of my way to drive down there just to look at that baby's face.
Yeah.
And some of those
The
just
dog's face too.
straight on
I really
faces,
love the dog.
and
Yeah.
it's so creative. Tell me a little bit about that mural.
Yeah, so the artists of that one are Todd and Kane Benson. They're brothers, and they've done a couple other projects, major mural projects in Spokane. And after they installed that mural, their careers really took off. They've been asked to do major commissions all over the state, all over the region.
Did they do the arena?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. They
Okay.
did the arena, and they also did the big eyes on the Maple Street Bridge, and they've done many, many other projects. But they're absolutely wonderful, lovely artists that have been so great about mentoring younger artists. So when they installed that mural, there were many other younger artists who were interested in doing murals but maybe didn't have the experience, and they invited them to participate in the process, so they learned about it. And then those artists have gone on to do their own murals with
Wonderful.
us. So yeah, they're really wonderful.
That's a great story, and
Yeah.
like I said, that's one of my favorites because it just makes me happy.
Yeah, it's so vibrant and colorful, and it's, you know, Visit Spokane has used it a lot
Yep.
in
You see it.
tourist marketing.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's
And
great.
I want to see, that baby's face. I want to know how that baby's grown up.
Yeah.
What that baby looks like
The
now.
baby
right?
10 years
yes,
later,
the baby
yeah.
10 years later. We need a mural on that.
Yeah.
So good. I'm glad, and I hope people will take time to drive by, visit, walk through some of the areas where these murals are, because they really are something that we should be very proud of as a community.
Yeah.
So Garland, I work a lot up in the Garland district.
Yeah.
It's in my council district, and there's so much going on up there with murals.
Yeah.
And I know that they've reached out. I know you've had some partnerships up there with Garland, with the
Yeah.
Garland Business District. Tell me a little bit about some of those murals up there are wonderful.
Yeah. So yeah, that neighborhood is such a wonderful art-centric neighborhood, right? And the Garland Business District, Julie Shepherd Hall specifically, has worked so incredibly hard to make all of that possible. And I think it's such a great example of businesses really embracing what murals bring to the neighborhood, you know, in all the ways that we were talking about before. It makes your neighborhood a destination. People want to come visit those murals. It brings people together to participate in the installation and to watch the artists install those. So to me, I think they really set the tone for a lot of other neighborhoods and businesses around the city that are now starting to see like, oh wow, that could be really incredible for us to have a major, mural in our neighborhood or on our business. So they've just worked so hard to make that possible. Tons of volunteer labor goes
Yes,
into that.
yes.
That mural alley, which again is such a destination. People come from all over the city to walk through and see those murals. It's an ever-changing collection, right? So it's often being added to or changed. So yeah, it's just such a wonderful, very neighborhood-led project, which I appreciate a lot.
And
a lot of blood, sweat, and tears has gone
yes.
into it.
And we worked with them specifically on that alley, just grinding it down a
Yep.
little bit and keeping it safe for people to walk in until they have there's an actual plan and some funding
Yeah.
that goes in to make that a formal outdoor area.
Yeah, and tons of neighbors come and pull weeds and sweep
Yep.
the alley and make it nice for visitors. So,
And
it's
then, of
really
course,
lovely.
they took that whole idea and then they put the mural on, is it Post going down, the Post
Yes.
Street Hill?
Yep.
And so it was nice to kind of see that continue through that neighborhood.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I hope I know that it's inspiring other neighborhoods to look at what those opportunities are, which
Yeah,
is,
absolutely.
and
They
it's
were
so
definitely
welcoming.
a leader on that.
You can grab a cup of coffee and walk around and feel like you've belonged there forever. So
Yeah, and
I-
it's such a nice fit. They're such a arts-centric neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
You've got a movie theater and you've got music shops and bookstores and vintage shops, and there's just so much great stuff happening in that neighborhood, and the murals just really help bring that to life and draw people in.
It's so wonderful to see that. So the other one that was a big one, we talked about it a little bit, was last summer.
Yeah.
And I remember this was kind of, hey, this is an idea, this is a mural project.
Yeah.
We got to do it now because we had an artist visiting who was willing to do it.
Yeah.
And the Emerson Garfield neighborhood, the Monroe Street businesses, some of those individuals helped out to kind of coordinate that mural on, I think it's on Chelan, 2706 North Monroe, which is
Yeah.
by there's a restaurant there, that Mexican restaurant.
Yeah.
And so we got involved to kind of help try and find funding, thinking if we've
Yeah.
got the talent here to do it, let's do it and see what happens.
Yeah.
Tell us that story, because that was fast.
It was.
And everybody, worked extra hours to get that done. They had an opening
Yeah.
maybe 2 weeks after, I think.
Yeah, it was.
And
It was
it's
great.
really been a nice addition to North Monroe. So talk a little bit about that one.
Yeah, I think exactly as you're saying, that project is such a good example of a public-private partnership, right? Because there was a private business who was willing to give their space for the mural, and Spokane Arts as a nonprofit was able to kick in, we'll give you some extra paint, and we'll give you some supplies, and we'll loan you some expertise. And then, you led the charge to have City Council match some funding, and then the neighborhood, as you say, the neighborhood had a private fundraiser, and lots of folks from all over the city kicked in to make that possible. So it was just such a community effort. And it's such a big, beautiful,
Huge.
colorful,
Yes.
vibrant,
Yes.
you can see it from the aerial views are fantastic. You can see it as you're driving up Monroe, and it really just is such a cool placeholder for that, kind of a bright, massive piece along that North Monroe corridor. It's just such a fun project. And the artist on that, of course, was Tiffany Patterson, and the visiting artist was named Mick Burson. And yeah, they had this vision, and they combined their
kicked
two
it out.
artistic styles. And again, lots of, like you said, lots of help from the neighborhood. Again, lots of kind of emerging muralists helped out with portions of that. So there's an artist named Mallory Batista who lives in the North Monroe neighborhood, and she was one of the people that helped out with that project. And now she's getting her own private mural commissions. So
It just keeps growing.
yeah, exactly.
And with that mural, and I don't know if somebody was playing with me or not, but when I went to the opening of it, the question was, can you find the dinosaur? Is it the dinosaur?
Oh, I think you're right. Yeah.
Yeah. So I stood there for several minutes. And so I do that now with people. Go look at that and tell me when you text me when you find the dinosaur, and I finally found it. But that's what's so cool about that one, is
Yeah.
that you're just standing there and your head up because it's so big.
Yeah.
And you're looking and you're trying to find hidden
Yeah.
creatures, which
Yeah.
I thought was a great concept. So,
Totally. Yeah. And it was so fun at that opening too, to see all the kids from the neighborhood. An 8-year-old standing in front of this massive, colorful, vibrant wall that has all these playful elements, like
Yep.
you say, and just kind of staring in awe at, like, this is my neighborhood. This is so cool. I met the person who created this.
Yep.
That's really incredible.
And I was that lone person in the corner looking for the dinosaur for several minutes. But it is one of my favorites too, and I love driving up and down Monroe. And I think it slows down traffic.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we're always talking about keeping people safe walking across
Yeah.
busy streets, and I think that one does. Once you see it, you stop and you kind of want
Yeah.
to look at it. So.
Yeah, and it's a destination.
Yeah.
People go to take photographs in front of it. They take senior photographs, they take wedding photographs. It's great.
Well, it's a great addition, and
Yeah.
I'm very appreciative that it worked out.
Yeah, no, thank you.
Moving now a little more to serious art or
Yeah.
art expression, that powerful symbolic expression that we can see in the Black Lives Matter
Yeah,
mural.
yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about an overview of those artists? That's another one that was turned around very quickly
Yeah.
with a lot of passion, a lot of drive, and I would just like people to know what went into that and any stories you can provide. I know that wasn't a Spokane Arts
Right.
project,
Yeah, exactly.
but I
Yeah.
know you were involved.
that was
Anything art you're involved in. So,
Well, you're right. That was completely a Terrain-led project.
Yes.
So Ginger Ewing, the executive director of Terrain, put that entire project together, and I'm happy to talk about my observations of it because it is such an incredible project, and it is an incredible addition to the public art in this city. And I just think that she did an incredible job. All of the participating artists did an incredible job. So yeah, for those who may not be familiar with it, this is a Black Lives Matter mural that is on the side of a private building in downtown Spokane along Main. And each letter of the 16 letters was assigned to a different artist. And so Ginger was very thoughtful in terms of which artist she assigned to which letter. And so all of the artists who were assigned to the letters of Black are Black artists in Spokane, and all of the other letters are Indigenous and other artists of color from Spokane. So a number of the participating artists, and from the region as well. So a number of the participating artists are city art commissioners. So Daniel Lopez did one letter, Remelisa Culleton did one letter, Emma Noyes did one letter. So we had, a great participation from the city art commissioners, and then obviously incredible participation from this broader pool of artists of color in Spokane. And I think again, just in my observation, since I wasn't involved in any of the organization, but just in my observation as a community member, I think it was really cathartic for all of the artists who participated in that to be able to express themselves in that way, and to be able to see the community response and see all the people who felt compelled and moved by that to come down and take photos and share it on social media and talk about what it meant to them. I saw a couple of the artists who posted their personal stories about their experience as they painted their letter, and the most moving thing for a couple of them was young people coming down to see it, parents and bringing their kids down to watch them install this, and having, again, a 6-year-old or an 8-year-old or a 10-year-old say, wow, that artist is just like me, and they look at this incredible piece of art that they just installed and look at this bigger message that we're talking about human rights. And so, yeah, it's just a really incredible project, and I couldn't be more impressed by everyone who organized it and participated in it.
It made me proud.
Yeah.
And that was the one, I saw it, and I thought with everything that's going on in the country, to be able to focus on a message and a positive expression, that being art, that people can share together and bring people together to share, made me very proud.
Yeah.
And I was...
and that's the goal of art, right? Is to start conversations. And sometimes those are very difficult conversations that we need to be having as a community. It's not hard, it's not easy for everyone to talk about what race means to them. It should be easier for a lot of us. And I think people like me who are white need to work a lot harder to make it easy to, we should be able to talk about this. We should be able to have these difficult conversations. But I think the way that mural jump-started those conversations is really laudable.
And for those little ones, it'll be a different world for them, because they're going to have that experience that we didn't have. And they're going to be the ones to carry that message forward, that, hey, it's a difficult conversation. What can we do to make it easier? Hey, maybe it's art. Maybe it's standing around a portrait or a mural or whatever, and maybe that will help us kind of get to the root of our differences and bring us closer together, which you couldn't ask for any more. So I'm very, very proud of that.
I know, they did such an incredible job. And it's such a, like you said, such a powerful symbol of what art can be and do in our community. It's not just about having a pretty thing on a wall. It's about creating conversation. It's about educating. It's about actively participating in your community. This is how these artists are participating in civic life. This is how they are contributing their perspective and their experience. So.
And the stories behind it.
Yeah.
So, are there any other? I know there's so much going on right now with Spokane Arts, and and especially the mural side. Are there other murals you want to highlight while we have this discussion and this time to kind of share with the community that what they should go out and look at and what's coming up maybe even?
Yeah, a couple that are coming up. So I alluded to the additional basketball courts mural or basketball court murals, and I mentioned the one that will be in Thornton Murphy. And then there will also be a massive new basketball court in Riverfront Park as part of the Riverfront Park redevelopment, and that was funded by MultiCare and donated to the Parks Department. So there will be another artist-designed mural right there in the heart of the park next to the future playground. So a couple more basketball court murals, and then again, we hope to work with Hooptown and MultiCare to keep choosing additional neighborhoods for those court murals to be
that
installed
momentum
in.
going.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly. And then a couple of other projects. Spokane Arts did a temporary mural project in response to Black Lives Matter, and hired a number of Black artists and artists of color to do temporary murals in downtown Spokane on windows that had been boarded up. And what we're hoping to do now is reinstall those murals in a new site. And so we're working on finding.
What a great idea.
So right now they're in storage because they've been taken down from their temporary sites, but we're working on finding an alleyway or another public space where those could be redisplayed.
That's
so
wonderful.
That's coming up.
So if we have artists interested in getting involved, if we have citizens, if we have individuals that want to, participate with Spokane Arts, maybe donate money, who do they contact and how do they get kind of in that process?
Yeah, absolutely. So the easiest place is honestly probably our website, because that has contact info for me. You can find my email address, my phone number is on there. And then we also have an artist roster that is intended as a free tool for the community. So if there are businesses or individuals who are like, hey, I would really like to have a mural. How do I find a muralist? You can go on the Spokane Arts website, go to the artist roster, and you can sort it by the type of art that they do. And these are all it's kind of like a phone directory, right? It's a free listing. And so you can go on there and explore their work and contact those artists directly to find out if you'd like to hire them for, again, a mural on the side of your business, a mural on the side of your garage. So yeah, contact info for me is on the website, and I think that's probably the best place to start.
That is wonderful.
Yeah.
And I have to say, I have had the privilege of serving with you, serving under you on the Spokane Arts Board, and I have learned so much, and I appreciate and am so grateful for the work, the commitment to art that Spokane Arts has shown all along. With flexibility, I mean, we have had situations where you have something planned and the funding isn't there, it has to be moved. And I want you to know that I appreciate it, and I appreciate everything that I've learned, and especially watching these wonderful murals appear in neighborhoods, I think is one of the greatest gifts that neighborhoods have right now to really express themselves.
Yeah, no, thank you. I appreciate that.
I appreciate your hard work.
And thank you for all your support in helping move these projects forward. I think that's been something that has been so crucial in all of these, so many of these projects that we talked about were public-private partnerships, right? Where, the city kicks in a little bit of money, but it's matched by community donations or, business sponsorship. And so I think that just shows how much we can accomplish when we leverage all these things together, and then we see the benefits in community gathering, and we see the benefits in economic development. And so I just salute you for your vision and understanding of all of the benefits that these projects have to the public.
Well, we are going to keep moving forward.
Yeah, we're excited.
And these projects are going to continue, and we are going to see several more, and I am 100% on board, and I can't wait for it.
Yeah, I'm excited too.
All right, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks.
I hope you enjoyed the show today, and I hope you take some time to drive around Spokane and check out some of these amazing murals. And if anybody can find the dinosaur in this mural, please give me a call and let me know where it is.